What's 9 plus 9 plus 9? Okay, yeah. What's 9 plus 9 plus 9?
9 plus 9 plus 9? 21?
Yes, okay. What's 7 plus 7 plus 7?
Is that also 21?
Yeah, they're both 21.
Yeah.
What's 85 plus 25?
100.
135.
Yes.
111.
111. See,
Yeah,
that's not
okay.
that bad.
100?
Who was the 69th president?
I don't f***ing know. Was it Kennedy?
Yes.
Oh, for
Yes.
real?
Nope.
Yeah, see?
How many moons does the Earth have?
6.
Yes. Do you know how many people are in the USA?
3 billion?
Yes. Do you know who fought in the Civil War?
Who fought in the Civil War?
Yeah.
It was us against the Soviets.
Yes. Do you know how many states there are?
There's a star for each state, so 51.
Yes. How many people are on Earth? Around how many, if you had to guess?
I don't know, 200 trillion, something like that.
How many states make up the United States? Around how many?
13.
Yes. Do you know how many stars are on the U.S. flag?
50.
Do you know what the stars stand for?
No.
Take a guess.
The number of laws, I have no. I was right?
Yes. You just guessed?
Yeah.
Around.
All right, guys. So this country has a number of crises that it's going through that really scare me. Like, for example, the border crisis, the crime crisis. We have a foreign policy crisis. Who knows? We might get into World War III behind the Biden administration and the Democrats and the neocons. But I think by far the biggest crisis that scares me is the education crisis, because education is the foundation of a country, right? Education and how properly educated the population is a primary factor in regards to the future success of the country. Okay, we're turning out students that are proficient in math, reading, writing, science. They're going on to do great things and be great contributors to society, keeping the country on the cutting edge of technology and innovation. That is how we ensure that our country stays on top of the world. We continue to be a leader. However, the United States has fallen off. Okay, we're now a country that produces dummies, right? Our education system has become more focused on wokeness, diversity, equity, and inclusion rather than actually teaching kids about the basic skills that they need in order to survive and to be, again, positive contributors to society. And this story right here out of Oregon is exactly what I'm talking about. As we have to talk about Oregon suspending graduation requirements because of, you guessed it, racism. And you guessed it, this happened during the pandemic after George Floyd, because after George Floyd, this country literally fell off of a cliff, okay? And we have been in a free fall ever since then, right? A free fall of insanity. And what has happened to our education system, again, is a prime example, because they initially did this back in 2020, right? And now they've decided to extend suspending graduation requirements because, again, having graduation requirements, having expectations of students is racist. Apparently, this discriminates against so-called minorities, aka black and brown people. Take a look.
Some of the misinformation is presented with artistic quality, mental acrobatics, such that it might be tempting to believe these alternative facts. If only they weren't automatically discredited by the myopic analysis and bigotry that follows them. Rhetoric about cultural and social norms being the underlying reason for underperformance on assessments by systemically marginalized students, reminiscent, as you all might know, of racial superiority arguments, an extra ori there, arguments for early national history.
It is not bigoted, it is not racist to want your student to be able to actually learn. And these assessments, in fact, are the best way that we have to ensure that our kids know how to read, write, and do math before they leave high school, especially as they lower their standards for what it's going to take for a student to pass their grades and get their credits. I mean, at some point, our graduation or diploma is going to end up looking a lot more like a participation prize than an actual certificate that shows, that someone actually is prepared to go pursue their best future.
For the next 5 years, high school students in Oregon will not need to perform proficiency tests showing mastery of reading, writing, or math in order to graduate. And this comes as the Oregon Board of Education unanimously voted to extend a pause on the graduation requirement yesterday until 2028. They're citing inefficiency and inequity. Joelle Jones going beyond the headlines tonight to find out what this pause will mean for students.
This is a controversial decision and one that's facing a lot of pushback. While some say the decision will lower state standards and cheapen an Oregon diploma, the Oregon Department of Education tells me this policy simply didn't work and disproportionately harmed students of color.
For the next 5 years, high school students in Oregon will not be forced to take an assessment of essential skills, proving they've mastered math, reading, or writing. This comes as the Oregon Board of Education unanimously voted yesterday to extend a pause suspending the proficiency requirement in order to graduate. Designed to ensure students are prepared post-graduation, the policy was initially paused by Governor Kate Brown back in 2020 amid the pandemic.
What we found is that it simply wasn't working. We looked at several post-secondary outcomes, and there were no changes in those data pre and post implementation of this policy. So it wasn't having the intended impact.
Dan Farley with the Oregon Department of Education tells us the pause removes the harms caused by the policy. As an ODE report submitted to the Senate Committee on Education last year found, quote, the assessment of essential skills requirement was implemented inequitably and did not ensure anticipated benefits for students in their preparation for post-secondary transition.
The report brought to light several impacts on students, primarily students of color, students with IEPs, and students for English learners, who, because of the requirement, were being excluded from learning opportunities at the high school level because they were working on trying to pass a test.
But the pause continues to see pushback from community members who claim the decision could lower education standards in the state, with former governor candidate Christine Drazen launching a campaign and garnering more than 1,400 public comments in opposition. Stating in part today, quote, it's disappointing that these unelected bureaucrats decided to ignore public comment and continue down a path that neglects their responsibility to help students meet high standards. Still, state education leaders say despite the decision, most of Oregon's graduation requirements remain in place and are still as challenging as any other state.
Our state assessments are still in place. Families and parents for students who take our grade 11 assessments are getting the same information that they ever got from their schools. All we have eliminated is a specific and inappropriate use of that assessment that wasn't doing what it was designed to do.
I did reach out to those opposing this decision, including Christine Drazen and others, for an interview, but did not immediately hear back. We're told that this pause will be extended through the 2027-2028 school year. Reporting in Portland, I'm Joelle Jones, KOIN 6 News.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Just another example of the hard bigotry of no expectations for so-called students of color. And at what point, right? At what point are black people going to stop allowing ourselves to be embarrassed by the white liberals that run the education system and, for the most part, a lot of parts of the country where black people are congregated, right? Like the inner cities. When are you going to stop allowing these white liberals to embarrass us? Because that's what's happening. That's what's happening. Every time you look, these people show you time and time again what they really think about black folks. They don't think that we're that smart. They don't think that we can achieve. They don't think that we can compete with the whites or the Asians. They don't think we can compete. So they lower standards, right? They have these diversity programs, these affirmative action programs to put black people in positions to fail, right? While also going out of their way to make sure that black people don't have the basic skills and knowledge to be successful in society. It's really effed up, right? It really is, because that's why they're doing it. Well, the black kids and the brown kids, Latino kids, they're being discriminated against because they can't pass the test at the same rate as the other kids. So therefore, we're going to get rid of the requirement because we don't want to discriminate. Again, it's shameful. It's shameful and it's embarrassing, and I'm sick and tired of being embarrassed by these people. At some point, we have to say we got to hold everybody to a high standard, and we have to make sure that we don't accept mediocrity in this country, because mediocrity is how we fall behind. It's why we're falling behind, right? This is why we're falling behind. If you look at the state of Oregon, they're ranked 39th in education, according to U.S. News, right? According to 39th in education. According to the American Education Report Card, Oregon gets a D+ for their education, right? Look at Wallet Hub. Oregon is ranked 41 in education. If you look at Public School Review, the percentage of students achieving math proficiency in Oregon is 32%. And the percentage of students achieving reading proficiency is 47%. Again, this is a state where only a third of students can do basic math, and less than half of them can read at grade level proficiency. But yet they think that lowering the standards or just getting rid of the requirements to graduate is a good idea. Again, keep in mind, across the country, when it comes to black students, 85% are not meeting grade level proficiency, right? In math or reading. And again, this state thinks it's a good idea to lower the standards even more, to make sure that the kids don't know anything. And they say, well, it's not really making a difference, right? It doesn't improve their outcomes in post-secondary. Well, here's the problem. Just because you don't think that requiring the test or requiring kids pass the test actually helps them post-secondary, that doesn't mean that you get rid of the test. What that means is that, I don't know, maybe you continue to raise the standards, right? You raise the standards so that you make sure that kids are even more equipped and prepared to go out into the real world. Because again, it's not just school and the tests that, affect a child's success after they finish school. You also have the environment that they were raised in, which also affects their education attainment, their academic achievement as well too. But again, you don't just get rid of the whole test. No, you always continue to raise standards. But again, that's what's wrong with the education system. They don't care. They don't care. Democrats particularly really don't care because it's all a part of the plan. It's done on purpose. They want to keep kids stupid and dumb and woke social justice activists. They want to focus on teaching them LGBTQ, gender, all this woke nonsense in school, rather than actually teaching them real life skills that they are going to need to actually be successful in life, because they don't want kids to be successful. They want kids to be dependent on the government. That's how they get kids to continually vote Democrat. And what you're seeing in Oregon is Democrats, liberals, being open about it. They're open with their bigotry. We don't care that our state is basically one of the worst in the union when it comes to education, right? We're going to continue to lower standards because standards are racist, right? And all these students that graduate as dummies, not knowing anything except, social justice, they know race, they know gender, they know, all this other stuff, sex, right? They know that. They will vote Democrat. They will be Democrat voters for the rest of their lives. because it's all by design. Until we wake up to this and see what Democrats are purposely doing to our education system, the downfall of this country, the free fall of this country will continue. You're not going to see an end to it. And this is how they're getting to the next generation, is in the schools, and they're making sure kids are as dumb as possible and they're as woke as possible, which again is going to contribute the most to the continued downfall of this nation. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.